Hi there, welcome to Isle Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Aries energy, and since it's not a personal reading and I don't know anything about your life, we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe Aries energy. You know, they're motivated and inspired by love and justice and fairness and want to be proud of themselves, try to act with character and integrity, have hope and faith and belief in their dreams, motivated to become a leader in their own life, to grow and mature themselves and heal. And some people aren't there yet. Some people harness a more worldly Aries energy, more motivated and inspired by the world, and it's more like wanting to look like a boss in the world, to have people view them a certain way, and that can be what's most important to them. And some people harness shadowy Aries energy. They just maybe want to control things and be bossy. Manipulate people to get them to do what they want, intimidate people to get them to do what they want, use their charm or their sexuality or their money or whatever they got in order to manipulate people. So we all tap into Aries energy, so listen to your intuition about where you're at in the story, listen to your intuition about where other people are at in the story. If you harness high vibe Aries energy, you'd probably want to hang out with some other people who harness high vibe Aries energy. Okay. So, for starters, I look at this card as kind of the overarching reason for the reading. And it's the Lover's card, Gemini energy. And Gemini energy is a dualistic sign. What are we going to align with? Our loving, intuitive, creative, inspired, bold, brave, confident nature, authentic nature? Are we going to work with that to manifest our dreams into reality? Or are we going to align with our more worldly nature and think we need to work with the things of the world, which can be aligning with our more shadowy Leo nature of our ego? We're either motivated and inspired to get out of our more worldly egoic view of life, and we're motivated and inspired to free ourselves of it, to be free to live our authentic life. We're either willing to learn lessons in life and keep growing and maturing ourselves throughout our life and healing and things like that, or we're not. Otherwise, we're maybe more interested in looking, again, victorious and successful in the world from a more worldly viewpoint, and we're more motivated by the world, indulging ourselves or in a materialistic way. We're either willing to transform our life, which is what the Death card talks about, where we learn lessons in life and we emotionally detach from the past to give birth to new things, or we're just going to keep moving forward in non-life-giving energy because we're not choosing love and hope and faith and belief. And even though we might have learned everything we were meant to learn from like a cycle of life, some people don't want to step out of that phase of life. They just want to keep moving forward in that phase of life. And some of them, the Death card is Scorpio energy, emotionally, because Scorpio is a water sign energy. Some people are wanting to explore the mysteries of life emotionally, wanting to do the highs and the lows to experience life. Other people, our emotions are confusing. And some people are like, no, don't really like to connect in with my emotions. It's confusing. I prefer to live a more emotionally shallow, superficial life. Maybe make my life about death, sex, and taxes. So that apparently is what is maybe, Aries energy is about the self. Well, are we going to make life just about us, like loving ourselves, being in our ego, not willing to grow and mature ourselves, not willing to heal, not connecting with our emotions and our intuition because we've decided that's the best way to live. I won't get hurt that way. Love won't hurt me because I won't do love. And then it can just be about indulging themselves in relationships. I'm going to have sex with people until they see the truth that I'm not really who I say I am, and the dream isn't ever going to come into reality with me. I'll just keep living my life like that. And other people are, we have to learn lessons in life, and we can all get caught up in the world. We can all get caught up in the illusion of the world. We can all get into looking to things of the world to be the answer to our problems. Drugs, booze, food, sex, gambling, or relationships. Or we learn lessons during our life that it's about us learning to love ourselves and get detached from our more codependent, addictive, worldly nature to be free to shine our own light and love ourselves and believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams. So we have the Five of Pentacles, the Magician, and the Five of Cups, the Ace of Swords, the Eight of Wands, the Page of Swords, and the Lovers, and the Six of Pentacles, and two Aries cards here, the King of Wands, and the Emperor. The people who have learned lessons in life, those people are growing and maturing themselves and learning lessons in life. And they have gotten to a place in life where they have learned all these lessons. Because the Emperor in high vibe is people who probably drove their life off into the ditch in different ways, but they learned the lesson they were meant to learn from those life experiences. Like, wow, I thought I was really bright and smart and that I knew what I was doing. I went and chased the things I was chasing. And then I went and learned some lessons from that I need to, take the lessons I learned from that, not to, in the Death card, like repeat that past pattern, because it left me feeling stuck and I don't want to be stuck. So if I don't want to go repeat the same pattern where I go chase after something that I thought was going to be like victorious or successful and it didn't work out the way I thought, well, I need to take some time to look at life differently. Why didn't that work out? How did I contribute to that not working out? What were the traits and characteristics of the people I was trying to work with? Was everybody enlightened to the truth that it was about love? Was I enlightened to the truth it was about love? Was I being just and fair? Was I treating people the way I like to be treated? Was I dealing with people who are just and fair? Was I dealing with people who try to see things from other people's perspectives? Were we all kind of caught up in our ego? Were we all caught up in the illusion of the world? Did we all have lessons to learn? And if we're willing to get out of our ego, which the Hangman can also talk about ego, I don't want to keep staying stuck. I don't want to keep repeating the same pattern. Repeating the same pattern, expecting a different outcome, is the definition of, what is it? Idiocy? Or, I don't know, there's a saying about that. Repeating the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome is something like that. Idiocy or something. We have to hold ourselves accountable in the Judgment card. We have to hold other people accountable. Everybody needs to grow up and mature themselves at different times in their life, and they need to be willing to admit that I do have lessons to learn in life. And the Queens in Tarot can talk about how we think, how we feel, how we process things, how we view things, how we view ourselves, how we view the world, how we view others in relationship to us. Throughout our life, we have growing and maturing to do. When we were young and we dealt with other people who were kind of immature and young, we all had to learn how to get along with each other, how to be respectful to other people, how to love and encourage people that we love, And as we go through life, sometimes we meet people who are more grounded, more stable, more confident, more mature, have learned more lessons than we have. Are we willing to admit that maybe there's other people in the world who might have some insight that we didn't have? And if we're willing to expand our perception, and sometimes it's just being around people who are more bold and brave and confident than we are. It's like, how do you do that? I'm not quite so bold and brave and confident. And so much of it is just expanding our own perception of ourself and dealing with our fears or insecurities that keep us stuck. So, anyway, back to the Emperor. The Emperor in high vibe embodies all four kings. In tarot, we have the pages, then we have the knights, then we have the kings and queens, then we have the Emperor and the Empress, and the Hierophant, and High Priestess. We all have lessons to learn. We all start out as children, and we got a lot of lessons to learn. And then when at the night stage, we could be young adults, and we have a lot of lessons to learn there. And then we go into the king and queen stages of learning all these lessons about letting our heart run our life, letting our mind run our life, letting our passionate nature run our life, our creative nature, our worldly nature, our things of the world that we want. And sometimes we can let one or two or three aspects of the four kind of run our life. Kind of like, oh my gosh, I let my heart run my life off into the ditch. The only thing that mattered was what my heart said. And the other aspects of our life, were left in tatters and no attention was paid to them because the most important thing was, oh my gosh, my heart, and then say we can get hurt doing that. And then we can get defensive. So then our mind's running our life and our fear. And then kind of the rest of our life can go in tatters because no, I've got to protect myself and I got to be defensive. I don't want to get hurt again. And so the thing is, we go on all these journeys in life to learn all these lessons. And the thing is, if we're willing to learn the lessons we learned on those journeys of life that we went on, eventually we learn to make better decisions in our life. And hopefully during that process, we see the truth about looking at life as an adventure to be lived. And part of that adventure includes us loving ourselves, our own inner child nature, and our truth, and learning to respect our truth. We come in contact with all these different people to try to help us get clear about what our truth is. We get in jobs, friendships, and relationships, and then it's like, oh, wait, I kind of thought we were on the same page. I thought we were kind of motivated by the same dream. I thought our truth was the same. And coming into contact with all these different people helps us get clear about what our truth is. And hopefully at the foundation of that truth, it's love. It's about love. Loving myself, treating myself with love and compassion and forgiveness so I can grow and mature my inner child, because I don't want to keep being an immature, codependent person. I need to learn to love myself and care for myself and nurture myself and learn how to fill my own cup emotionally and invest in myself to feel stable and grounded within myself. Because as a high vibe Aries energy, I want to, in the Six of Pentacles, be balanced within myself and have this more mature philosophy of life based on all these lessons I've learned. And I want to be bold and brave enough to keep listening to my intuition to guide me, because sometimes we can get afraid of listening to our intuition to guide us because, we got drawn and attracted to other people before and it didn't maybe work out the way we wanted it to. So sometimes we're afraid of listening to our intuition. But the whole thing is, our intuition, it's kind of like life-giving energy represented by God, wants us to learn the lessons we are meant to learn, to grow up, mature ourselves, heal, grow, believe in ourselves, to become good leaders in our life. Take the lessons that you've learned, and when you could be tempted by some of the things that you're tempted by in the world, you say, wait a minute, I've already let my heart run my life off into the ditch before. I need to make mature decisions in my life, taking all aspects of my life into consideration, because my life isn't just my heart. My life isn't just my mind or my ego, et cetera, et cetera. We need to move forward, taking all those things into consideration, and based on the lessons I've learned, not to, when my intuition tells me, I don't think that's a good idea, we shouldn't do that, I don't think that's going to turn out the way we thought, we might kind of be a little bit working from our worldly nature, ego nature, immature nature, and our shadow nature is represented by the devil, and that means we got some hard lessons to learn. And as we learn these lessons in life, it's like, nope, If my intuition, and we've all got lessons to learn about listening to our intuition, which is given to us as a gift to help us navigate this world. But when we're young, we want what we want when we want it, and we want to go indulge in it. And sometimes we thought in kind of a more immature Aries energy about the self, we thought we were the boss and maybe there'd be no consequences to our decisions and we could just go do whatever the hell we wanted and indulge ourselves in what we wanted. And the thing is, we learned that if we're not making good decisions in our life, mature decisions, and listening to our intuition, which our intuition is here to guide us, to let us know, I think you're making a bad decision. I don't think you should do that. I do think you should do this. And if we keep being inspired to take stable, grounded action forward based on the lessons we've learned, we know what things to not invest in emotionally that will maybe just get us stuck. And we've already been stuck before. So we're not going to get in our pride and ego. And instead, we're going to decide to make emotionally mature, loving, supportive, encouraging decisions in our life and who we invest our time, energy, and effort into. And what we invest our time, energy, and effort into. We have our mind, we have our emotions, we have our thoughts. We can be the masters of our thoughts and our emotions. They are not meant to be the master of us, and we're not meant to be a slave to them. We can pick and choose, which thoughts and emotions we choose to sit in every day. Does it mean we stay in denial and reject certain thoughts and emotions? No, we have to work through them, but we're inspired by the truth and love to deal with those things, to work through those things. So back here, we have the Five of Pentacles, the Magician, and the Five of Cups. Well, the Five of Pentacles can talk about, kind of feeling left out in the cold, and maybe we hadn't learned yet to put in this work and effort to emotionally detach from things in our past that could have made us feel left out in the cold, which can be our past pain and heartbreak, but just also our own self-limiting thinking and how we can choose to belittle and berate ourselves every day. We have a dualistic nature. We can belittle and berate ourselves all day. Or we have the free will to choose to be loving and encouraging and supportive of ourselves. And sometimes we've dealt with people in our life who made us feel rejected and left out in the cold, who weren't very nurturing or loving or encouraging and supportive. And sometimes we can incorporate that into our own philosophy of life, like that says something about us and our worth and value. But everybody makes their own free will decisions. Loving people are loving. Just and fair people are motivated to be just and fair. Warm, giving, nurturing people are warm and giving and nurturing. And people who aren't, they've made the free will decision not to be in those type of energies for some reasons that exist within them. And we have to realize that, we can only do what we can do to help contribute to a relationship working out and being balanced and loving and just and fair. But if we're working with other people, they have to equally be motivated and inspired for it to be like just and fair and loving and nurturing and supportive. And some people haven't freed themselves from the things that manipulate them and kind of control them. If that's their fear, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, their own lack mentality, their more stubborn, bossy or controlling nature, the more we free ourselves from our more shadowy nature, the more we're open to giving and receiving love. And everybody's got lessons to learn in life, and some people didn't learn how to play nice with others. Some people didn't learn to get out of their own head or their own fear or their own self-centered nature or their bossy and controlling nature. So for a long time, those things can manipulate us. In the Magician card, sometimes this can just be being more caught up in the world because The Five of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which is Earth sign energy. And, you know, we all grow up in the world. So I think a predisposition of ours can be to get kind of being manipulated by the world, letting the world define our worth and value. You know, it's these worldly traits and things of the world that define our worth and value. And we can feel like we don't measure up. And then we have the Five of Cups. Aligning with our more worldly nature or our own lack mentality, letting the world manipulate us, letting our ego manipulate us, letting our fear and our insecurity and our ego manipulate us, makes us sad. And we can get in relationships with other people. You know, we all have lessons learned. I think we tend to get in relationships with people who are kind of in the same place we are. And part of the point of maybe getting in relationships with people who are on the same page as us at any given moment in time is hoping that maybe between the two of us, you know, we can help each other move forward in life. And if people do that in relationships and together they kind of realize how all these kind of shadowy things and being caught up in the world and how making those things more important than learning to be inspired by your truth and love can make you sad. If people get in friendships and relationships and workplaces and everyone kind of sees that truth and everybody's kind of motivated and inspired to free themselves from it in the Eight of Wands, to move away from that, I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't want my fears or my ego or the world to have so much influence in my definition of who I am and what I'm worth. I decide who I am and my worth and value. My worth and value is much more than what I wear, what I drive, how much money I have, who I hang out with, blah, 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 blah. It's supposed to be about truth and love and justice and fairness and character and integrity. And if people have people in their life that they're working together with, where, you know, they're doing this work together to see the truth, that it's about love and inspiring and encouraging each other to maintain balance within themselves and incorporate love into their basic philosophy of life to guide them, and within the foundation of themselves to believe in themselves and to believe they can overcome the past, that if they invest, Virgo energy of the Knight of Pentacles is that, you know, I bet if we're inspired to put in some work and effort to deal with the fact that sometimes we've dealt with people in the world who were maybe not growing, not maturing, not healed, intimidating, controlling, not loving. It's the truth sets us free, and Virgo's about going within to see the truth. And we all tap into Virgo energy. We all have the free will choice to do that. And if the people, when they're in relationships with other people, if they're both motivated, or all the people are motivated and inspired that I don't want to repeat those same patterns of relationship. I don't want to interact with the people I'm in a relationship with feeling left out in the cold and rejected. I don't want to be manipulated by those things anymore because I have people in my life who are encouraging me to love and believe in myself. I want to deal with those issues from my past that made me feel unloved or feel rejected. I want to see the truth of it. And it's just seeing the truth that everybody's fallible human beings. Everybody has their own issues. Everybody has their own past pain and heartbreak from growing up. They have theirs issues of when they felt left out in the cold. And some of those people didn't decide to deal with any of it. And they could have decided these things didn't work out. I felt rejected. I felt abandoned. I didn't feel valued. I have an idea. Instead of harnessing high vibe Leo energy and taking inspired action to deal with it and work through it to get to the truth of it so I can emotionally detach from it. Instead, some people made the free will choice that, no, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to keep moving forward in my defensive nature or my egoic nature. I'm going to keep indulging my more immature nature. I want to feel better. I want to be in relationships. I know. In my philosophy of life, shadowy Aries, and you don't have to be dealing with an Aries, but it's just how people choose to live their life. Some people decide it's going to be all about me from now on. I'm going to control things. That's how I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. So they didn't learn the lesson. They didn't see the truth. How did they contribute to those relationships not working out? Nope. I don't want to see it. Nope. I'm going to invest in burying that. I'm going to bury that deep beneath the surface. I might have been stubborn. I might have been prideful. I might have been egotistical. I might have been unwilling to see see things from other people's perspectives. I'm not willing to see the truth of that. I've decided, I'm this nurturing, loving person. We can decide to believe anything we want to believe. Some people do have a lack mentality. Some people haven't healed. Some people are immature and they haven't grown and matured themselves and they don't want to see the truth of it. Some of those people dealt with people in their past that were kind of immature, had growing up to do. Maybe some of those people they grew up with were kind of bossy and controlling. Maybe some of those people were more about pride and ego and image. Maybe they were emotionally shallow. Maybe that's why they felt disappointed and kind of left out in the cold. But some of those people are unwilling to see the truth about some of those people in their past. We're either willing to deal with the truth or we're not. We have the Knight of Pentacles investing in the Scorpio Death card. Some people have decided, I might have been disappointed, I might have felt abandoned, but I am not willing to take bold, brave, confident action in my life to come up with my own ideas of how I could put my own unique spin on that life experience, like take the good things from it and things I learned, and then add my own spin to it, where I'm not going to act prideful and egotistical, and I am going to emotionally grow and mature myself and be a more enlightened, emotionally nurturing person than some of the people I grew up with. But some people aren't willing to do that because some people, let's see, what is Scorpio? Scorpio is a fixed sign, and anybody, no matter what zodiac sun sign they are, they could harness their Scorpio energy in kind of a shadowy way, and it can be unwilling to budge. This is the way we've done it. This is the way they did it. It might have made me sad, but I am not willing to detach from doing whatever those people did. They're like the template that I am going to follow. Because, I don't know, they're just, I think it's come up in readings before where some people are just really defensive to letting their own love and intuition guide them to be more bold and brave and confident in the world. And shadowy Scorpio can be people who kind of have this black and white thinking, and they might have grown up with people who were quite controlling, maybe intimidating, and nobody is supposed to change. High vibe Scorpio is about transformation. No one is supposed to change. Everybody is supposed to live their life just like this. Yes, we've all felt left out in the cold. Yes, we've all been sad. Yes, but I don't want to deal with it. I don't want you to deal with it. I don't acknowledge it. I didn't acknowledge it in my family and my parents and my grandparents or my community. I don't want you to acknowledge it in this family about your grandparents, about your community. We just keep moving forward, exactly doing things the way things have always been done. And some people who could have grown up in these kind of bossy, controlling, you know, I mean, it could have been really subtle. Some people were very good social mass. Some people look very victorious and successful and like they're these loving, nurturing people and stable and grounded and victorious in the world, but they're emotionally shallow. They're kind of manipulative. They kind of, within their own families can be bossy and controlling, and it kind of stifles the people who grow up in those workplaces or those families or those friend groups where people don't even have experience at listening to their own creative, inspired nature because it kind of gets snuffed out in them. No, we do not look at things from any other perspective. We do not expand our perception of the world around us and how we view it. And apparently the judgment card fell on the table. So apparently nobody's supposed to hold themselves accountable for their actions. We keep doing life the way we do it. We have this status, we have this image, we have this reputation. We look like we're these bosses and leaders in the world. We do not hold ourselves to judgment. We are above judgment. And some people are just really full of themselves. And they could have grown up in families, and this could even be things that are buried in their subconscious. They don't even know why they act this way. And part of it can be not acknowledging that when they grew up and were involved in relationship dynamics like this, that it made them feel left out in the cold and sad. But then they repeat the same pattern in their own life and with the people they deal with, and maybe their children, kind of being emotionally shallow and superficial and nobody growing and healing. And then they just think, I don't want to be judged and I don't want to do things any differently. And I'm just going to do what they did. And, it's like if there had only been people like that who existed since the Stone Age, we'd all still be Stone Age people. But luckily, other people said, you know what? There were some things I went through in my life. Made me sad, made me feel rejected, made me feel manipulated. I felt like I was exchanging resources with some people who were kind of bossy and controlling, who, were unwilling to see things from any other perspective and were unwilling to get out of their ego to maybe grow up and mature themselves and admit maybe they had some lessons to learn or some healing to do. And I want to free myself from that. I just see the truth. They're a fallible human being who just didn't free themselves from some of the things I wish they would have freed themselves from, so we could have had more people who were good leaders in the workplace, in the friend group, in the neighborhood, in the family. I wish people would have made decisions that were best for everyone involved. That's high vibe emperor energy. Not people who just made decisions that were best for themselves. And there too, what happens when we're in a relationship and things happen? Well, the people who operate, who've learned lessons in life and are more emotionally grown and matured and healed, when things happen in a relationship that are confusing, kind of hurtful, going through a period of transition, because the fives talk about change, we're going to kind of move forward to the next phase of life, and it can trigger people's fears and insecurities and stuff like that. The high vibe people are motivated and inspired by truth and love, and that's the action they take during those times. And that's when you can find out that even though you're in friendships and relationships with people where you've known them a really long time, where you have similar life experiences, similar life wounding, if the other people, if they haven't done this work within themselves to heal and grow and mature themselves, to choose that their default position is like truth and love and encouraging people and loving and encouraging themselves and believing in themselves and tempering their fears and insecurities, to maintain balance within themselves and make the decision to act in a more mature manner, to be willing to see things from other people's perspectives and work together cooperatively. Their default position when things happen where they get triggered in their fears, in their insecurities, going through a period of change that, it's kind of like they don't have the tools to navigate it because they maybe just haven't cultivated those tools within themselves. And so their default position, I have an idea. I'm going to take some immature action and be defensive. Because again, they could have a lot of growing up and maturing to do. And based on maybe how they were brought up and how they saw other people handle things, it could be, I'm going to try to control things. I'm going to act in my ego. I'm going to become kind of intimidating and controlling and emotionally detached from the situation, male or female. Or it's just like, you know what? This is hard. I would have to. High vibe, 8 of Wands, Sagittarius energy is about higher learning and education. And for some people, that's not their truth. Because part of that truth would be that they learn to love themselves and start operating from a more loving, just, fair foundation instead of a defensive or an immature or a bossy or controlling, kind of more prideful, manipulative in their more worldly nature. And it would require them to incorporate love into how they make decisions in life. And some people, that isn't how they make decisions in life. They haven't incorporated love for others into their foundation. It's kind of like, when I have to make decisions, it's more about me. What's good for me? What would be best for my ego, my image, my status, my lust, my greed, my pride, my ego? And how much work and effort do I want to put in? Do I even want to change? And some people don't. They're happy living life the way they've lived it, and they might want to keep living their life that way. They don't want to expand their perception of themselves and the world around them, or how they view themselves or how they view others that they're in a relationship with. Some people are emotionally shallow. Some people are materialistic. Some people are manipulative, prideful, manipulative, egotistical. And they don't want, it would maybe take a lot of work for them to work through why they're like that, to free themselves from it. Where other people, somewhere along the way in their life, those people already kind of work through those issues, maybe kind of more piecemeal. And for some of these people, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that would be a whole lot for me to change, and I am not willing to change it. And so they decide it's more about me, and I'm going to make a decision that's best for me. And if my decision is that I have a more worldly view of life, love's optional, because the Lover's card used to be called the Choice card. Shadowy Scorpio, death, sex, taxes. I'm going to have sex with someone. So really, it's really just who am I going to be in a relationship with? So they're kind of emotionally shallow and superficial because they don't really want to do love, probably because you can be at risk of being hurt doing love. And some people somewhere along the line decided, I'm not doing love anymore. I'm defensive to love. I'm going to indulge myself in relationships. It's really going to be more about me I'm going to present myself, because the kings and tarot can talk about how we present ourselves in the world, because we all can present ourselves in the world any way I want. I'm just and fair. I'm stable and grounded. I'm emotionally loving. And that can be a complete lie. You know? Here we have a feminine figure, which can talk about how we think and feel. Some people really have grown and matured themselves, and they are emotionally nurturing, stable, loving. There are people who walk the talk. The other people emotionally are more invested in the world, and they might have a lot of things in the world that people would want to be in relationship with them. They could be attractive, they could be charming, they could have stability and security, they could have social clout. Who knows what they got? But for whatever they've got, they think they can just kind of keep staying immature. I don't have to grow up. I don't have to heal. I don't have to make decisions that are best for everyone. There's people who are going to want to exchange resources with me because, the King of Wands can be people being attracted to people. I look like a boss in the world. I don't have to do that, kind of in my pride and ego. I think if I get in a relationship with people and it gets to that stage in the relationship where people, the relationship's supposed to go to the next phase of life, where people are supposed to be maybe get out of their more defensive, egoic nature or indulgent nature, and it's really about the relationship growing and maturing, where there is equal give and take, and where people are making decisions that are best for everyone instead of just themselves. Some people are like, oh, time to leave. I'll just go find someone else. Oops, the other people became enlightened to the truth. I need to go. Because apparently they're not willing to stay in a relationship with me just because of these things of the world that I have. They really want to do love. See ya. And they might want to leave, but sometimes, people who are in shadowy energy, sometimes a lot of those people are really all about, their whole way of defining themselves isn't loving and believing in themselves and knowing their worth and value. They define their worth and value based on how they present themselves to the world. So it's very important to them how other people view them. So some of those people, it's like, yeah, I don't want to be in this relationship, but I don't maybe want to be the one to leave because that would look bad for my ego and my image. But I might do some things that are kind of immature. I might do some things that are hurtful and unkind. I might create this illusion about things and, I don't know, just do all these things, maybe be kind of bossy and controlling and manipulative and prideful and distant and cold. And I'm really trying to get the other person to leave. I want the other person to decide, yeah, I'm not staying stuck here anymore. I've called judgment on you. I do know my worth and value, and I really don't give a fig what the rest of the world thinks. So I'm going to leave this relationship. And they're like, there we go. Perfect. You leave. I'm going to go get in a relationship with someone else. And then they move forward and they create this illusion. Poor, poor, pitiful me. I was so loving and nurturing and supportive in that relationship. But those people, basically then they cast all their shadowy traits onto the person who really was putting work and effort in to grow and mature the relationship and heal it. But they tried to claim all those people's positive traits as being their own and put all their shadowy traits onto the person who left them. And then they figure, I'm just going to go find someone else who will, it's like I get to start out fresh and new. And I'll present myself in this certain way, like I'm this emotionally nurturing, stable, grounded person who is victorious and successful in the world and makes good decisions in my life. And I'm sure there's someone who's going to want to be in a relationship with me. The only thing is, they're the exact same person going into that new relationship as they were in the old relationship. For quite a while, they can wear a false mask. But if they get in a relationship with new people, and if the new people, want an emotionally mature, nurturing, loving relationship, that person is putting in work and effort to bring the dream into reality. And then they kind of realize that the other person is like unwilling to make a decision to move the relationship forward, maybe into a long term relationship, because the King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married suit of the deck. And if it's not a marriage, it can even be in a workplace where you get in a job, they create this illusion about how great it's going to be. And then you get in it and it's nothing like what you thought it was going to be. And you realize this job is going nowhere because these people aren't who they said they were. And it's not at all what you thought it was going to be. And you could have left that job, that relationship. Other people come, get in relationships with people like that, go work for that employer, and it keeps happening over and over. It's like, eventually do people start to see the truth as to why do we keep having so much turnover here? Well, because we have some immature people in the group or in the workplace who try to present themselves as these stable, mature people who are like good bosses and leaders, and they're not. They're actually kind of egotistical and kind of stubborn and unwilling to self-reflect about why people keep leaving their business or keep getting out of relationship with them. And even if some of those, say like an employer, if any of you have worked somewhere where you had a boss who's kind of like that, they can go to the next place and you almost just can't wait to meet somebody who works with that person like a year later, because you know right away in the honeymoon phase, oh yeah, they seem great, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'll check back with you in a year when their true personality more shows itself, right? And as time goes by, other people in their life, for some of these shadowy people, could have viewed them as someone who at one point in their life did seem to be moving forward in a stable, grounded, loving, nurturing relationship. Seemed like everything was victorious, and then it ended. And then these people tried to create an illusion about why it ended. And they keep trying to present this persona of who they are. But because they kind of keep taking action, maybe more where it's more about them and indulging themselves, some people could start to think, if you were in a loving, nurturing relationship, did you get out of that because it required you to grow and mature yourself and heal? And you just kind of want to be an immature player who acts like you're much more, like you're not a player, but you really are? And there can be other people, as time goes by, in these people's lives who also want to emotionally distance themselves from them. And they might not tell them, I've been illuminated to the truth of who you are, and I see you're much more stubborn or prideful or egotistical or materialistic than I ever realized that you were. And I think you're getting like people in these jobs or these relationships, making them think, that there's something that's going to come of it. And it's not. You're just being selfish, all about yourself. What can I get out of it? And other people are probably going to start to distance them too. And the people who did get out of those jobs and those type of friendships and relationships, those people, they had seen the truth. And even though it might have been really confusing and all that, they took this action to love themselves, to get stable and grounded within themselves. And they weren't going to let someone who was in shadowy energy, unloving, unkind, unjust, unfair, bossy, controlling, intimidating, possibly shadowy Scorpio, can be acting like a private detective in a relationship. Just all these ways. They did all this work within themselves to learn the lesson they were meant to learn from it, to grow and mature themselves. And those people are moving forward. They're no longer in their ego about it. So it just depends on where you're at in the process. Some people right now could just be going through it. Other people are going through the phase of learning to love themselves. Like, I'm going to give myself all the things I wish other people would have given me. I'm going to get balance within myself and be inspired to learn the lessons I was meant to learn, because I don't want to repeat that type of work dynamic or relationship or friendship dynamic. And I'm going to take the lesson I've learned to emotionally, it takes time and effort. You know, Scorpio energy, again, being an emotional water sign aspect, it talks about our deep emotional connections we have with people. And it takes time to emotionally disconnect from people. And that's why it's, you know, not nice. You know, it'd be one thing, I guess, if people want to be upfront with people. You know, I'm not looking for a relationship, just a good time. You know, you want to hang out. You know, if you want anything more, I don't know if this way. But even that, we can be fooling ourselves, because we are emotionally complex human beings and we get attached to people or codependent on them. So it takes a long time to emotionally detach from people. And the people who are at that phase of life of this story, they're no longer stuck about that person, because they went through this process to incorporate that lesson within themselves in how they think and feel about the past. And now the past is just the past. And if we do the work to heal from it, to see the truth, how did I contribute to those relationships not working out? What was the truth about the people I was dealing with, which maybe initially I didn't see the truth, but maybe they were more materialistically motivated than I thought. Maybe they weren't motivated by love, and we just had different dreams. We were motivated and inspired by what we thought makes us look like a leader in the world. And theirs was maybe money and status and power. And other people, it's like, I think being a good leader in the world is acting with character and integrity in my family and my friendships, and being someone who people really can look up to and admire, because they act with character and integrity. They grow up, they mature, they heal, they grow to their full potential. They don't get caught up in their more immature, egoic, me nature. And other people, that's all they're concerned about. And the other people saw the truth. They worked on what they needed to work on within themselves. They weren't living in denial of the truth of the people they were in relationships with. They got balance within themselves. They're making decisions. They're communicating with other people in the world who they think are on the same page, and leaving those people. They've got to free themselves from whatever it is that manipulates them, that makes them not choose love. We have free will to operate from whatever foundation we want to. And if they want to operate from lack mentality, worldliness, materialism, manipulation, whatever, pain, heartbreak, whatever they operate from, it's not from a healed, loving, balanced place within themselves. And we can be in relationships with people and offer them the resources and the love and encouragement. But eventually they have to make that decision for themselves to get out of their inner conflict about being more authentic. Because high vibe Leo is about, shadowy Leo is about being like defensive or prideful or egotistical or immature, or defending whatever shadowy aspect within yourself. High vibe Leo is like, I'm going to learn to love myself. I choose to be in life-giving energy. I choose to be loving and encouraging to myself. I'm inspired to free myself. I want to see the truth of why I previously have stopped myself from expanding my perception of how I view the world. Because once we expand our perception of what we believe is possible and how we view the world, you know, and see all the possibilities, that's when we can move forward emotionally, investing in our life differently, and how we invest in others is differently. And that's when we can have our dreams come into reality, because our whole philosophy of life has like grown and matured itself. like I talk about all the time in my readings, we went through these phases of life when we were age 15, going to age 18, going to age 21, going to age 25. For some reason, some people thought if they got maybe to a certain status or image in life, that they didn't have to do this work anymore. That, oh no, I've got this, I'm good. It's like, so basically your philosophy of life has changed. And now inspired to put in the work and effort in hope and faith and belief and love, where you have learned to offer love to your own worldly nature and to the past, to free yourself from it, because now you harness high vibe Leo energy, motivated and inspired to believe in love. So I think there could be some people have already gotten out of these relationships. Some of these people are just getting out of it. The high vibe people who already got out have communicated to people in their life, I'm moving forward. I'm not going to live my life the way I lived it. I've learned, came into some insight, some understanding. Again, we come in contact with these people to help us get clear about our truth. Do we think life is an adventure to be lived? Are we willing to listen to our intuition? Are we willing to be bold and brave and confident that the divine helps us manifest next week, next year, the next 10 years of our life? If we invest the time, energy, and effort in hope and faith and belief, and we invest our time, energy, and effort into things that are loving and nurturing and supportive and encouraging, and we quit investing in those things that aren't aligned with that and people who aren't like that, and we're willing to get out of our ego and our fear and our insecurity, I think we're going to manifest things that are in aligned with that, because we're not investing our thoughts and our emotions and our time and our energy and effort into things that aren't aligned with that. And I think as we move forward, we're going to meet other people that have gone on that same journey, who are going to say, I see that you, in your Virgo energy, I see you've done the work and effort within yourself to free yourself from a past phase of life. I see that you've learned some of the lessons that I've learned in life. I dealt with people who were like that too, and I freed myself from them. And now, seems like you and me might be on the same page. And those are the people that we decide to invest in. And it puts an end to being stuck. And we found people that we want to emotionally invest in, to have our dreams come into reality with, in workplaces, friendships, and relationships. Life's about learning these lessons and finding people who are on the same page as us and kind of seem to have some of the similar philosophy of life and maybe have gone through some similar experiences. And then we have more lessons to learn. And if with the next people we realize these truths and we move forward in this way, making good decisions, not getting caught up in our pride and ego, we keep transforming our life because we keep making the decision to grow and mature ourselves. Now, some of the people that some people could have gotten out of one relationship, and they could have communicated with some people that they did feel, when we have lessons learned, we could have rejected some people in our life who had learned some more lessons than we had. And we had to go learn our lessons. They might have had to go learn some of their own lessons. If we're on the same page right now, then some of the people that people communicate with, you might be able to move forward with them in a new relationship. But some of those people moved on, and the people they got in relationship with, maybe they were more on the same page as each other, and those people are still going to move forward. And if they were to get in a relationship with you, that would be them kind of operating from pride and ego, and they're not going to do that. So, when we communicate with people and we meet people at work, out in the world, we don't know if they're in relationships or not. And if you communicated to someone your truth and that you're looking for a just and fair and balanced relationship, that you're moving forward, if they don't want to be, if it doesn't work out that they make you an offer to be in a relationship with you, they're either in their own wonderful relationship, and we'd be happy for them, or, maybe they're really not on the same page, and maybe they really weren't who we thought they were. In either case, it's like, I'm not going to let anything keep me kind of stuck. I need to keep moving forward, making good decisions in my life, investing in emotionally detaching from whatever I had the idea that I wanted to like manifest in the 3D world. And I just assume that the divine has a plan for my life. The divine wants me to learn lessons in life. And if that person might be someone I could have known, it could have been someone that I was sad that maybe in the past I had to detach from them, or they had detached from us. Why? Everybody could have their own thing. But if the divine knows that there's really nothing new to be learned there, the divine has something else in store for you. So you just keep moving forward. Some of you are already in new relationships and you're doing this work together. What do I think the shadowy people are doing? I think they're operating from their same foundation of defensiveness to the truth, and they're going to keep indulging themselves in the world, in their ego, and not wanting to see things from any other perspective. And if there's someone a job or a relationship they can get into that they think will give them that status or that image, or will indulge them in their ego, or someone they can indulge that has those things that they want, they're willing to do it because they have inner conflict about putting work and effort in from love. They got a lot of growing up to do. So they're really kind of more about, they got a lot more things to work through before they're willing to be illuminated to the truth. And we all know some people who choose to never be illuminated to the truth. So the high vibe people wish them peace, and the high vibe people keep moving forward in the friendships and relationships that they're in with the people in their life who are not acting in these shadowy ways of being. And the thing is, high vibe people move forward to the next phase of life. If you're to look at life as like this video game of levels where you have to overcome obstacles and challenges, the people that are unwilling to see the truth, they're going to keep repeating an old pattern. Let's ask why. Why would some people want to keep repeating an old pattern instead of going to the next level of life? The Queen of Wands, the Ace of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, because of the Seven of Cups. So they're still kind of caught up in the illusion of the world. And in their ego, their truth is that, it's the world. And it could be all about trying to create this illusion about who they are. Because you're either authentically who you say you are, which is the Queen of Wands emotionally, and then in your Aries energy, taking action in the world, because you are being authentically yourself in the world. Who I say I am is who I really am. I'm not operating from ego. I'm not trying to create an illusion about who I am. I'm not trying to manipulate people. I have healed, I'm wherever I'm at in my journey, and I'm really authentically who I say I am. And the other people are not willing to be their authentic self in the world because it's all about having this certain image in the world, and they have inner conflict about putting in work and effort to love themselves, to be more authentically themselves. So they're letting their worldly egoic nature kind of run their life. And as long as they think that's what will make them happy, they're going to keep doing it. And it over and over might make them feel rejected and feel left out in the cold. If you make your whole life about trying to please the masses and that everyone has to love you and feel like everyone views you a certain way, well, that sounds overwhelming in its own. But, how about try to appeal to people because you're authentically who you say you are? And some people are like, oh, no, no, no. I don't want people to authentically reject me. If they're going to reject me, I want them to like reject my false persona. And that's what some of them aren't getting. And that could be the difference between them and the people they're trying to be in relationship with, is the other people maybe really are authentically being themselves. And the other people are kind of wearing a false mask, trying to create an illusion because they feel rejected and left out in the cold. So you're looking for certain people who might have a certain status or image or power or influence to value you and appreciate you. But if other people are motivated by authentic people, that's what these people aren't seeing the truth of. Oh, you mean I do have to learn how to be more authentically myself and then maybe, well, because otherwise you're kind of operating with someone's cardboard cutout person. They're not genuine and authentic. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Aries energy that they might not see coming? The Two of Cups, the Fool, and the Eight of Cups, because of the Leo Strength card. So just like some people have been moving forward and other people have already finished this phase and been moving forward, sometimes some people realize that, anytime we finish up one phase of life and we start another phase, we might realize we kind of got off track. And it's like, wait a minute, I need to step back and reevaluate, because we have these different paths in life with free will. And as some people realize that the path that they were going down, wait a minute, no, 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 this is the wrong path. For some of the people that are moving forward, they're listening to their intuition and tempering their fears and insecurities to go on this new journey and become more independent. And as they move forward in life, there's going to be other people that they're going to meet that see that they're listening to their intuition and bold and brave and strong, and will maybe communicate that I want to move forward with you. And you just need to listen to your intuition. Some of the people who might want to go on that journey with you think that you're stuck in your ego and that they can just indulge in a victory with you and then maybe end the relationship and walk away. And so you just got to trust your intuition, get to know people to figure out the truth of what kind of foundation they operate from, to get an idea if they operate more from pride and ego and trying to maybe tempt you. Got a lot of fire energy here that can be trying to tempt you and like your lust and your greed and stuff like that. Who's trying to tempt you in your lust and your greed, and who's being authentic and genuine and really has some insights to share with you about the things they've learned in life. And, if we get to know someone, we listen to our intuition, if there gets to be a point where our intuition tells us, nope, we need to stop. This person is maybe a little bit more about indulging themselves than a more self-disciplined nature. I'm not going to move forward, and I'm going to listen to my intuition, because some people have learned the hard way that when they don't listen to their intuition, it kind of bites them in the butt. What's coming up for the people in shadowy Aries energy that they might not see coming? The Two of Pentacles not showing itself. Well, when a card isn't showing itself, well, for one thing some shadowy people didn't see, because they do think they can manipulate and control people, and they could kind of think they're the boss, and they could think they're the cat's pajamas, and anybody should want to be in a relationship with them. One thing they're surprised about is some people are no longer juggling, going back and forth about them. Those people have gotten in the driver's seat of their life from love, and those people are moving forward. It's like, what? They could have thought, that people would maybe move away from them, but then they thought those people would never get out of getting out of their ego, because these people never get out of their ego. And they didn't think those people would ever get out of their ego and love and believe in themselves enough. And they did. And those people got in the driver's seat of their life, and they didn't see that coming. Another thing they didn't see coming is that there might be someone who they meet as they're living their life that communicates with them, that wants to be in a relationship with them. And that person is going to present themselves as loving and give the impression that they're no longer juggling, that they're ready to move forward and like maybe become a marriage partner to someone, but really they are juggling. Or they're balanced. So, regardless of where people are at, you're going to have, because we have free will, you have to be given choice. So they might have some people come towards them and it's another loving person. It's like, oh shit. I'm going to go through the exact same thing again. Do I want to bother doing that? They also might have someone who's willing to be in a relationship with them more for looking victorious in the ego and the image, who kind of juggles just like them, who doesn't really invest in people. And they're going to maybe have to decide which one they're going to move forward with. Am I going to try to do the loving people again and just indulge, because it's nice to be in a relationship with loving people because they're loving and nurturing and encouraging and all that. But they know they don't align with that, and they know eventually those people are going to see the truth about them. And if they get in a relationship with someone like themselves, then they could kind of get maybe in a more long-term relationship because they do have the same philosophy of life. It's just that they also could be someone who's kind of immature, kind of bossy, kind of more superficial about the ego and the image. So, just not as loving and nurturing and warm and stuff like that. But it would look good by worldly standards. And really, that's what kind of drives and motivates them. So I don't know which one they'll decide to do. But the high vibe people are moving forward with people who are inspired by truth and love, who are authentic, who are balanced, who are bold and brave enough to look at life as an adventure to be lived, who are willing to become independent of this old pattern of relationship where it can be about illusion or manipulating people or being defensive to being authentic. And the high vibe people are going to have their dreams come into reality. And the shadowy people might get a victory and look victorious by worldly standards. It's just that theirs won't maybe be based on love, be based on other things. So there you go, Aries energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.